Hey guys, Jonah here, and yeah, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll probably have already heard the news. Yeah, that my cancer has come back again. Hence, fuck cancer on my t-shirt, which is actually purple, but on this camera looks blue, which is weird. So yeah, what do you do when when you've got cancer? You drink a fucking strong cunt of a beer. And this is it, the Night of Ren. It is 12.2%. It's coconut, pistachio, and chocolate imperial stout. It's from Tartarus. Well, actually, it's a collab. I'll turn it around this way. It's Tartarus and Emperor, hence the Knights of Ren name. And this small 330 can has 4 UK units. If you want to learn about Tartarus, I believe, Jesus, that is the smallest QR code I've ever seen on a can. There you go. You can stop the thing. Now, the other interesting thing, the delivery came in apparently on Wednesday. I should say this beer was purchased, not given to me, purchased um, at the Royston from Andy, young Andy. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you for putting up with me when I was feeling pretty down today. But yeah, when I picked this beer up and I looked at my phone on Untapped, 10 people had reviewed it. 10. And now I'm looking at it, it's 45. And this is like maybe a couple of hours later. So I thought I better drink it and do the review tonight. And I'll release this review tomorrow. So you'll be seeing this Saturday. Yeah, so there are currently no reviews. This will be the first YouTube review of these beers, these bad boys, the Night of Ren. If you have watched the old Star Wars, that was a joke. You'll know Kylo Ren from the shit films and Star Wars, the ones that George Lucas had nothing to do with. Ren, his name was Ren, Kylo Ren, but he actually killed these guys, the Knights of Ren. If you're interested in such matters, look it up on the books. Don't bother watching that movie because Jesus Christ, it was shit. In fact, all three of those films were dog shit. There you go. There is a gold top, but a silver bottom. Right, I better be careful. I've had this in the fridge for a couple of hours. I know it's an imperial stout, but this bad boy is 12%, and the can was really like squidgy. So when you have a squidgy can, explosions are very much possible. Here we go. We have got my tasting glass. Jesus Christ, let's pull this in. My God, it's like treacle. And I shall say this is, once you get over 10%, beers do funny things. And Jesus, look at that. It is dark as Satan's codpiece. And those bubbles, they're going to disappear really quick. Those are obviously carbon dioxide bubbles, but they will disappear. Mark my words. Right, I better get a nice picture of this because this is a unique one. And boom, there we go. So, coconut. Well, let me talk about this beer because it says on the can. So, this beer was boiled, I think, for 3 hours, which is unusual, especially these days. Boiling is usually for a beer And I'm talking about when you do the mash, then you do the boil. And basically, the more you boil it, the more water comes off, funnily enough, and you're left with a more concentrated mash, essentially, or wort, I should call it, because it's beer. Look at that head has basically vanished. Not going to get any lacing. Let's see if there's some legs on there. Oh yeah, look at that. Can you see that sort of iodine type sticking, that colour sticking to the side of the glass? That is definitely the legs of this beer. Yeah, so the more water you boil off, the more concentrated water you get. Um, and basically, the more sugary the water is, well, it is water, but it's wort. Yeah, and sugar turns to alcohol. So that's how you can get a really strong beer, is by having a long boil. But what it also does is it intensifies all the flavors together, and you end up with something absolutely crazy, like this bad boy. And then after the beer was brewed and came out, probably about 12 and a half, I'd imagine, it was racked onto the coconuts, the pistachios, and chocolate. So yeah, ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And I believe this was £10.50, I think, for this can, which I did pay for. And he didn't feel sorry for me at all. Well, he did, but he not sorry enough to give me a free beer. Sorry, Andy. But yeah, out of all the beers I had, because I had a couple of beers to drown my sorrows, um, about yeah, about my cancer diagnosis, it still hasn't quite sunk in yet. So what do? You drink a mofo of a strong beer. Oof. Cheers and beers. Yeah, if you feel sorry for me and you want to make my YouTube channel look better, why don't you leave a comment down below? Because hardly anyone does, and it does help me out. If you feel sorry for me for having cancer, why don't you give me a thumbs up? Why don't you do it now? And I'll drink some beer. I'll drink that. Oh, funnily enough, it's quite a good level of carbonation. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but on the taste buds, I'm getting that kind of carbon dioxide fizziness. That's what I get first, followed by an obscene sweetness. So, my God, I think, well, one of two things has happened. Number one, the yeast gave out at 12, was it 12 and a half? No, 12.2% of the ABV. You can see that there. Or will it focus? Who knows? Anyway, you can trust me, dear viewer. 12.2%. But there's a lot of sugar left in here. So maybe they were aiming higher, and just whatever yeast they decided to use gave out, or it was so bitter and twisted that they designed it so it would have some sweetness there, or maybe they even back sweetness. That would be absolute lunacy, but you never know with crazy beer makers like Tartarus and Emperor. Ridiculous guys, but in a good way. Right, so yeah, really sweet. I would say maybe a tiny bit over sweet for an imperial. This is probably more down the imperial pastry stout kind of thing, because of the sweetness, also because it's got chocolate in it, which is really nice actually. It doesn't taste as boozy as perhaps it should do, which makes it too easy to drink, which is always dangerous. Um, but then you've got things like the chocolate. I think probably you get the coconutty kind of thing first, Uh, then the chocolate, then the pistachio is kind of in the background. So that one, I mean, there's a little bit of nuttiness there. Um, and by that I mean like a chocolate bar that has kind of pistachio in it, as opposed to um, mainly pistachio with a hint of chocolate. That makes sense. Um, and this is weird because we were at an event yesterday in the evening, and it was at McNade's, which is where the low key barreling place used to be. Low key are another, well, they used to be another ridiculous kind of really strong producer of beers. I don't know if they're actually producing anymore. They definitely still have a kind of cask aging and barrel aging kind of project going on. Um, and obviously, you can still go to the low key tap room, and he does some really good stuff in Ashford. But I believe, and I'm not 100% on this because my beer memory goes a bit hazy with time, but I believe they were actually working out of McNade Farm. They had one of the farm buildings there. I think it was McNade. It was either that one or the Brogdale farm, the next farm along, but I think it was the McNade farm. Yeah, getting confused now. But anyway, really strong dark beers, imperial stouts and nuts, things like that. Not just pistachio nuts. Maybe, even though it doesn't taste boozy, maybe this beer is affecting me because I am talking. Well, I always talk a bit of nonsense, don't I, dear viewer? But that's why it's worth watching me before I actually die, because I think that probably is going to happen sooner than later now, from the look of things. Unless they cut out, yeah, the offending organ from my body, and I'm not sure I can survive without said organ. So, yeah, might be dying soon. Anyway, I don't care if I'm drinking really strong beers. You'll miss me when I'm gone. Oh, oh, wow. I mean, it's ridiculously full on flavour wise. There is a bit of bitterness and astringency in the background. So maybe that's kind of what they were trying to hide a little bit by either leaving it at quite a sweet level or back sweetening a bit. But that dark kind of roasty kind of astringency, it's not in a coffee way. It's like that bitter dark chocolate kind of way. And I know this has been aged on chocolate, so I'm not saying that's not result, but the malts are kind of chocolatey too, um, but in a roasty, astringent, dark way. This is one of the dark side of the force. And if you know the Emperor Brewer, what's his name? Damien. Yeah, I had to look. I thought it was Damien, but it's Damien with an A instead of an E. That kind of threw my brain, which is never never normal anyway. Um, but yeah, he loves Star Wars, obviously, because he's the Emperor from the Emperor Brewery. And yeah, all his beers are somehow linked to Star Wars. And it's so cool that he's teamed up with Tartarus because Tartarus do some ludicrous beers. They're usually kind of um, based around more. Oh, what's that thing? Is it Nephium or you know old kind of pagan, but in the Norse pagan ways, like neo Norse pagan. If that makes sense. I'm not talking black metal here, although that kind of crosses over a little bit. But Tartarus are all about dragons and sort of slaying things and gnarly stuff. And speaking of gnarly stuff, this can, I don't know if you can, I want it to zoom in on the can art. Yeah, that is one of the Knights of Ren. Obviously, Knight of Ren refers probably to this guy in particular, but there were many. It is the Knights of Ren, but this is one of the singular ones. But look at that artwork. That is proper. I'm really liking that. I'm really liking the gold top. If you could do a gold bottom as well, this beer is going to change hands. I'm assuming this is the first couple of days that this beer has been released. Um, but it's going to be changing hands for like 15, 20 quid per can. Why not get some gold cans? So you get the black is fine, but the bottom is silver. I want to see a gold bottom or a black bottom. Look at this beer. This beer deserves not a gold bottom, but a black bottom. Crazy. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off. I've been waxing lyrical for far too long, but it's like me kind of clinging onto life in a certain way. Have you ever had one of those days, and I'm not suggesting that you found out that you had cancer again for the second time, for fuck's sake. But have you ever had one of those days that's incredibly bad, and the only thing that will make it better is beer? Um, yeah, some people accuse me of being a stoner and all that kind of stuff and taking drugs. And perhaps I did that in the past, but I can't smoke anymore because I've got fucking cancer. So please stop accusing me of taking all these drugs and stuff because I don't do it. I literally haven't smoked for like, well, I haven't smoked cigarettes for like probably 10 years. And I haven't done any other kind of smoking for longer than that. So I don't smoke. I've got cancer once again. The last thing I want to do is smoke. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, not that I'm saying it's bad or anything, but I don't do it. I am this mad naturally. And of course I drink. That's my main drug of choice. Although there are some painkillers that are pretty damn good. And yeah, I've been put under a few times. Anesthetic. Man, I remember reading a thing about was it, which one was it? Was it Michael Jackson or was it that one from Friends? I can't remember, but he got addicted to anesthetic, and he had someone that injected him with anesthetic and stuff. It was like, what? But after going under the knife a few times of late, anesthetic is really good stuff. Can get it wrong, kids. Don't do anesthetic, but yeah, it's good for a reason. Cheers. Oh, look at that glass. My God. It looks like I've had iodine or boron or something. One of those um, crazy kind of iodine type things sitting around in my glass. Well, that is really nice. I have to say, it does not taste at all. 12%. The Night of Ren. Why did it focus up there, but it didn't focus down below? That's weird. There we go. Yeah, look, there we go. 12.2%. Ridiculous. Coconut, pistachio, and chocolate imperial stout. Collaboration between Tartarus and the Emperor Brewing. That is really good. The only thing is, for my particular taste, a tiny bit too sweet. But I think that's at least worth 4.5 out of 5 if you're going on the untapped kind of thing. I would love to try this on a key keg if such a thing exists. I doubt it is. Are there any? Oh, are there any casks of this flying about? If anyone knows, if this is available or will be available on cask, let me know, because yeah, now that I've got my diagnosis, I'm willing to do a few stupid things, because yeah, when you're gonna die, like, life is yeah, becomes a different meaning, and everything is all about experiential things. Maybe that long put off trip to the Alchemist or Russian River is now on the cards. Who knows? Dear viewer, thank you as always for listening to my shenanigans. This one has been a bit longer than usual, but I hope you understand why. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and this comes from Uncle John's heart. Please tell the ones that you love that you do love them, because you never know when it's going to be too late.